Welcome to our first PD in this series, establishing a sense of belonging for students and families. We're so glad that you all could be here with us today. In the chat, you'll see that we are chatting the note catcher for today, where you can follow along and capture your thinking for today. Next slide. Tabitha, can you next slide? Thank you. So again, my name is Irene Teskey. I'm a senior manager here at TNTP, and I will be facilitating this session along with my colleague, Margaret Bruce. Margaret, did you want to come off mute and introduce yourself?
Thank you, Irene, and thank you everyone for being here today. So excited to work with you. I'm Margaret Bruce, and I'm looking forward to facilitating with Irene. We're also joined by a few other TNT peers, Donna, Greg, and Tabitha, who will be supporting in breakouts. And if you do have a question to ask in the chat, please direct it to Tabitha TNTP, and she'll be able to support you there directly in the chat one-on-one. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. We are a big group, so thank you so much for being muted as you settle in. So we want to give you a brief background on TNTP in case you're not familiar with our organization. We were actually founded in 1997 by teachers who believed that all students deserved great teaching, with a particular focus on equity for students who have been historically underserved by school systems. We offer a range of support from strategic advice to multi-year projects with school districts, charter networks, and state departments of education. So TNTP and DESE have partnered on several initiatives already, including teacher diversification and deeper learning. But we're here today to talk about the roadmap. So to develop these roadmaps, we heard from educators, school districts, and school leaders, students and community members from across the Commonwealth. The insights and perspectives that these stakeholders, and perhaps you were one of them, shared were essential to developing the roadmaps, as well as the learning experiences that we're offering this summer. DESE and TNTP collaborated to ensure that these roadmaps are aligned with the unique needs of the students in Massachusetts and existing tools and resources that are currently provided by DESE. So as many of you know from the pre-work, and thank you for completing that in advance of our time together today, and welcome if you're just joining us, definitely check out the chat for the note catcher. The acceleration roadmap is a tool that exists in two forms, a teacher version and a school leader version. The roadmap is designed to provide a focus and phased approach to supporting all students in this upcoming 21-22 school year, a year that will ideally lay the foundation for accelerated learning over the next several years. Although this year, as we all know, will not be typical in many ways, we are also not completely reinventing the wheel either. The learning acceleration approach will support bringing your students into grade level instructions and supporting their well-being. But many of the things we discuss here today will be things that you already do. And that's okay. And we will invite you and ask you to lift up your expertise throughout our session today. And there might be things that you've thought about doing, but simply haven't had the chance to try yet too. And those are definitely areas that we encourage you to lean into during our time together today. Back to you, Irene.
Thanks, Margaret. So as Margaret was saying, the roadmap phases are akin to what we see in any normal school year. So we have diagnosing and planning, launching the year, and monitoring and progressing, and reflection throughout along the way. So here what you see on your screen is an overview of the priorities and phases from the roadmap. It can be found on page 8 of the educator version. And it's essential that as you use this tool, you consider it within your own context. So as Margaret mentioned before, we recognize that schools may already have a plan in place for some or even all of these listed action steps. And some of the work may need to happen over time and over multiple conversations and even over the next several years with different members of your school community. Tabitha, could you animate the slide, please? So in the planning phase, we'll help you to prioritize what's most important for your students in your school and classroom to make accelerated learning a reality. And today, we're going to focus in more closely in on the priority of cultivating a sense of belonging, as you see there highlighted on your screen. And we're going to be doing so through the lens of phase 1 and phase 2, again, to best meet your planning needs at this point in time. In the next couple of sessions, we're going to be focusing in more closely on accelerated learning as it relates to instruction. So we'd love to see you join us for those sessions as well. Margaret?
Thank you, Irene, and thank you all again for being here. We are completely aware there's been a lot of folks joining us. No worries on being here a little bit tardy, but do check out the note catcher in the chat, and you can use that to follow along today. Of course, we have a lot of folks here today. We're so excited about that, and thank you. So please just make sure that you are muted and stay muted so that we don't hear anything unintentionally in the background. So with that, here are our learning objectives for today. Please take the next minute to read through them on your own. And in the chat, please share a word or phrase that strikes you that you really want to hold on to and focus in on in our learning today. I'll put those directions in the chat as well. Thanks, Lauren, for starting us off. Gather about families, visioning, 360 feedback, supportive. Yes, Kyle, love that. And here they all come. Thank you so much. Perfect. Welcoming, collaboration, supportive. Perfect. Thank you for that. Lots of trends on collaboration. Appreciate you taking a minute to read through our objectives for today and appreciate you staying muted. Thank you. Thank you. So with that, we have some more user-friendly guiding questions to help us think about our learning today. So as we work towards our objectives, we'll keep the following questions top of mind to help move our thinking forward. And we'll actually start here, thinking how can we leverage 360-degree communication to cultivate belonging for students and their families. And so let's begin to understand the value, the impact, and what exactly 360-degree communication is. So when we cultivate authentic community engagement, we view families, parents, caregivers, and community members as authentic partners in our teaching process. With that, we can make the commitment to listen first. While we all have so much expertise in our field and in this room today, families, of course, are the experts on their children, and community members are the neighborhood experts. We all bring value and different perspectives to the table. So for us to create and truly create the lasting impact, which is our goal, our work needs to be done with community and not to them, especially through the lens of racial equity. We need to ensure that we're cultivating a vision and making plans while considering and communicating with our respective communities. On this slide, we can see the transformation of how 360-degree communication creates a space where families and communities are involved in a healthy feedback loop. You can see the feedback loop there on the right. It's almost a virtuous cycle of cultivating strong relationships, seeking feedback, listening and learning, taking action, and then sharing back results of that action. We'll take a closer look in just a minute. But first, we need to invite all of this expertise and all of you in this room with us today to the mic. So what we're going to do in just a moment is lift up some of the ways that we have developed strong relationships and used elements of 360-degree communication over the past year or in previous years with our students and their families. So please take the next 2 minutes to add your ideas for 360 communication in our Padlet. The Padlet is linked in the chat. Thank you, Sharissa, for putting us there. And you could just show me a thumbs up when you're able to click into that. Thank you. See a couple thumbs coming up. Appreciate that. Padlet is in the chat. Thanks, Tiara. I see you. Perfect. Okay, if you've never used a Padlet before, there's a little pink plus button that you can use to add your idea to share with the group. You can use a picture or a phrase. Once you've done that, I ask you to read through your colleagues and put a heart on one or two that really resonate and stand out to you, maybe one that you'd like to try. So I'm going to stop talking and just listen for my voice to bring us back at about 3:16 Eastern time. Again, the Padlet is in the chat. So many excellent ideas and takeaways here coming up. So I would love to invite someone who'd be willing to talk more about their specific strategy to come off mute. And since we have so many amazing educators with us today, if you could put your name in the chat, that would be extremely helpful. And I'll know to invite you to the mic to tell us more about your 360-degree communication strategy. You can put your name in the chat if you'd like to share out. Don't be shy. Sean talking about daily two-way communication logs. And again, please feel free to put your name in the chat if you'd like to tell us more about your thinking. But in the meantime, there's a lot of great ideas happening in the Padlet in terms of Google Classroom, emails, newsletters, conferences, regular check-in using Classroom Dojo, Seesaw, etc. These are excellent. And Sherry, as you're comfortable, just come off mute and you can share your thinking with our collective here.
Art teacher, and I love to send home images, mostly paintings, and I ask the students to collect opinions from their homes and bring that back, and that's a basis of discussion, and it involves the family just every week. Thank you.
Sherry, thank you so much for being brave and willing to come in front of our rather large group today. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate this perspective that you bring and the way that you uniquely invite families to communicate and create dialogue within your classroom setting. Please definitely lean into the chat to continue to share these excellent ideas. So with that, we're going to go ahead and advance forward. So let's pause here to stamp this key idea around 360-degree communication. It is a way in which we engage and lift up all stakeholders, including students in our teaching. So please take 1 minute to read through the communication do's, there we see in blue on our slide. Once you've read through these blue do's, please share out in the chat one of them that you would like to lean into this year. Thank you, Sarah. Send feedback, Doug. Lots around sharing feedback, seek feedback. Excellent. I know I need to commit to doing that more as well. Strong relationships, listen and learn. Thank you all so much. Excellent, excellent. Seek feedback, listen and learn. Perfect. And I encourage all of us to either just jot this down or put it within our note catcher so that it's not just something we say during PD, but something we can really come back to offline moving forward. So thank you so much for that. So let's talk a little bit more and build out this idea around building strong community engagement and other best practices that we've looked at here at TNTP. One would be creating and utilizing practices that promote equal partnerships. It's about purpose, not power. So working with families as a team. And I think many caregivers in the room today can also attest to the value this can add. The next would be to ensure that families know how to and have the opportunities to provide input and respond to school communication. I think if there's one bright spot from teaching through the pandemic is that we've gotten really creative about multi-channel connections we can build. I saw a lot of Classroom Dojo or Google Classroom, and we've built a lot of proficiency there as well. So perfect. We also want to ground any communication that we have with families in terms of student outcomes, right? And when we have that, we're coming from that concrete place. We can really agree about what's best for the student and make that our shared language. Whether you're building or maintaining relationships, whether you're speaking or listening, as many of us just shared, we want to remember that there may be a lot going on behind the scenes. And I'll just kindly invite everyone to mute yourselves again. Thank you for that. There might be a lot going on behind the scenes that we're just not aware of, especially in terms of how the pandemic might have impacted your students and their families. So keeping an open mind is one way that we can build trust over time, and establishing that safe space is key to supporting your student at home and in school so that they can flourish. And with that, we're going to move forward. So best practice here at TNTP with DESI and research has taught us that culturally sustaining schools enhance student experience and student outcome. I'll say that just one more time because it's such a critical point. I want to nail it. Best practice in research has taught us that culturally sustaining schools enhance not only the student experience, but student outcomes as well. We know that within the Massachusetts standards and indicators for effective teaching practice, there's a link in your note catcher that you might want to peruse later. This outlines expectations for teachers in the Commonwealth, and there's actually indicators that help us figure out how we can best communicate and leverage 360-degree communication and create those culturally sustaining schools that we are all aiming for. So we're actually going to begin our work getting into our first breakout activity. And for this, we are going to explore how the research and these best practices can live out in our own school community, in our own classroom with our own students, right? And think, how does this apply to me? So in just a moment, we're going to hop into breakouts. And when we get there, we'll take a minute to introduce yourself to your colleagues in that space. This is a great time to turn your camera on. If it's off, just to like put a friendly face to your name and use this time to learn from each other. You'll introduce yourself, your role, your district, and any other introductory information that you'd like to share. So in this time, we know that sometimes big decisions come from the top down within our schools. And ideally, we all have a voice in these conversations. But we acknowledge that some communication approaches may just be outside of your jurisdiction. So with that said, our first step will be to discuss what is within your locus of control. And just a friendly reminder to please mute yourself. Thank you so much. After you have identified what is within your locus of control, please plan one communication goal that you can commit to for next school year. Now So I will put those directions in the chat. That was a lot of information, but just again, we'll be in breakouts for about 5 minutes. Introduce yourself, think about what is it within your locus of control and one communication goal. You can capture all of this in your note catcher to hold on to. So welcome back. Thank you so much for taking a beat to engage, introduce yourself to colleagues, and share your thinking with them in terms of what's within our locus of control, because it's really important to identify that, and then setting some goals. And so with that, if you would like to share, have some great ideas, definitely put your name in the chat. But with that, I would love to invite Sarah Gates, a 4th grade teacher, to the mic. Sarah, if you would actually be willing to talk about both what you thought was in control, as well as goals and barriers, that would be really helpful if you're comfortable doing so. Thank you so much, Sarah. And I know that it might be a little nerve-wracking, so feel free to give Sarah some love in the chat.
Sure. One of the things we talked about in our group is how important providing translations for different languages is. We also talked about we have control over the information we send out, whether it be too much and it bombards parents and makes them nervous and makes the information seem less valuable, or whether we send out too little and parents and families feel out of the loop. And we also control when we invite parents into school buildings and different school functions. One of the goals that I specifically want to try to commit to is reaching out to all families individually every month, but also identifying the families that seem less engaged and trying to reach out to them personally, whether it be weekly or bi-weekly.
Appreciate you, Sarah. Thank you so much. Great ideas all around Thank you, thank you. Yay, Sarah in the chat. I would love to hand the mic over to Kyle and then CD, and then we'll actually move forward. Again, feel free to keep the love and shine coming in the chat as well. Over to you, Kyle.
For question one, what's it within our locus of control, what I had said was basically it kind of comes down to the number one thing that you control is your effort in terms of, you know, how much effort are you willing to put in to build that communication with your parents, you know, of your students. I can attest to, you know, something happening in first period or second period, knowing that I have to call a parent at the end of the day, and the end of the day comes and you're exhausted and you just, you know, you don't want to sit on the phone for 20 to 25 minutes or maybe more explaining what happened. So, you know, making sure that, you know, you're consistent with both positive and negative communication. You know, if something good happens, taking that minute to call the parent and say, you know, little Jimmy or little Susie did this and it was really awesome and they made an improvement from, you know, the last time that we spoke, you know, goes a long way in terms of, you know, building that trust between parent and teacher.
Kyle, thank you so much for coming off mute. I think I saw a lot of heads nodding there with you. But as a parent myself, thinking about when you get those positive phone calls, just letting you know that your child is seen, and especially like you said, celebrating milestones, progress, it can build that trust so much. Thank you to all celebrating each other in the chat and stealing some great ideas and best practices. And so with that, I am going to hand it over back over to my fabulous colleague, Irene.
Thanks, Margaret. So now that we've discussed how we can leverage 360 communication practices to cultivate a sense of belonging for students and families, we're going to now transition into looking at setting a vision for a welcoming, supportive, and culturally responsive classroom environment. More specifically, we're going to look at how we can create this type of environment while also supporting social emotional learning and development. So in the last year or so, we've all been hearing so much more about the importance of SEL. And just to make sure we're operating from a common understanding and vocabulary, I'm going to pause for a quick moment to just go over what it is and how it benefits students before jumping into our new resource that we're going to look at today, which might be familiar to some of you all already. So social and emotional learning, or SEL, it's a process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge and skills and attitudes to develop healthy identities, to manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals. It's also how we feel and show empathy for others, and how we establish and maintain supportive relationships and make responsible and caring decisions. And we know from research, research confirms, and teachers, parents, and principals alike agree that social and emotional competencies, as you see identified on the slide as the orange, green, and yellow in the circle, these competencies, they can be taught, they can be modeled and practiced, and they lead to positive student outcomes that are important for success in school and in life. And in our particular context for today, we know is essential for accelerated learning to occur effectively. Furthermore, decades of research studies have also demonstrated the following benefits that you see on your slide for social emotional learning. So that includes improvements in students' social and emotional skills, their attitudes, relationships, academic performance, and their perception of classroom and school climate, which, again, to reiterate, is an essential component of effective accelerated learning. So today we're going to take a look at a resource from the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, or as some of you may know it as CASEL. It's an organization that supports states, districts, and schools nationwide to ensure that SEL is a priority in every school, but also to support understanding how we can integrate it throughout the school day. So Cassell has devised a playbook with 3 signature practices for cultivating SEL. And there are additional excellent resources from this organization that are linked at the bottom of your note catcher. And we encourage you to lean into those moving forward as well. There's SEL resources for most every content area and practice resources that give teachers an opportunity to understand how to authentically promote SEL in their classroom. But for today, as I mentioned, we're just going to focus in on one particular resource they've come out with. So the SEL 3 signature practices, or the playbook, I should say, they were developed in response to these commonly heard questions. For example, what does SEL look like and how can we start doing SEL right now? So educators, they found, understood and believed in the power of SEL, but sought more clarity about how to demonstrate and observe SEL in action during the school day and beyond. So not just looking at a handful of examples or videos, but really this resource provides a full explanation of a wide variety of strategies. So in the playbook, they've identified 3 key practices for developing strong SEL instruction. The first one is a welcoming inclusion activity, routine, or ritual that builds community and connects to the work ahead of the school day. So an example of this that we typically see includes a morning circle, a kind of greeting at the door, a welcome letter at the beginning of the day. The second is embedded engaging strategies, also known as brain breaks or strategies for transitioning. So these strategies anchor thinking and learning throughout the day, throughout the learning experience. So engaging strategies offer many opportunities that vary in complexity to practice different types of SEL skills. These engagements might be more about learning in a small group or individually, such as a turn and talk to your partner, or collectively. So something like Socratic seminars or a jigsaw. And these are supported by intentionally chosen strategies and activities that have a sequence of steps that suit your group's particular needs. And they also build in a balance of interactive and reflective experiences to meet the needs of all your students. And the third one is one that we might not have considered before, but it's called optimistic closure. And the goal behind this is that to close each experience in an intentional way. So it's not necessarily about having a cheery ending to the end of your lessons, but rather it highlights an individual and shared understanding of the importance of the work that the students have just completed. And it can provide also a sense of accomplishment and supports that forward thinking for the upcoming learning. So again, the closing activity, it may be reflective of the learning. It can help identify next steps, and it can help students make connections to their own work. And so now we're going to do a little bit of thinking back to your own classroom context. We're going to take a deeper look independently into Cassell's 3 signature practices playbook. And we'd like for you to select one area where you would like to build your practice for this coming year. So for example, as I reflect personally on my own practice as an educator, I'm a former ESL teacher. I'd have to say that the area of optimistic closures, those practices, that's an aspect of SEL that I could have been stronger in my classroom. I know the pressure of ending the day on time when the bell rings. Sometimes we're not really getting to that meaningful, optimistic closure for our lessons. So that's an area that I would focus in on. So I would spend some time looking at those practices in the playbook, which Margaret, I believe, has shared the link to the playbook, and you can begin looking on page 4. We also would like to share with you a calendar tool that you can begin populating with these ideas for the actions you plan to take to bring this signature practice to life with your students. So we'll work independently for about 4 minutes. Please feel free to turn off your camera during this time and then listen for my voice to bring us back together. And we'll also go ahead and put these directions in the chat in case you need a refresher. Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to invite you to, as you're returning, to begin turning on your cameras as well. Hopefully you got a chance to zero in on 1 or 2 practices or strategies specific to one of the practices that you'd like to explore this year. Hopefully a few caught your eye. And right now what we're going to do is we're going to transition to breakout groups where you'll get a chance to hear a little bit more about what your colleagues and peers are thinking about when it comes to incorporating these practices into your upcoming school year. So we'll take about 5 minutes in breakouts and then we'll come back together to share. So we heard some great conversations, and if you are prepared to share or would like to share, you're welcome to put in the chat which practice you selected and how you will bring it into your classroom. But we'd love for anyone who would like to come off mute, go ahead and put your name in the chat and we'd be happy to hear from you. Great, Pamela Reagan, we'd love to hear from you. And thank you, Annalise, for sharing.
So I teach in high school, so they're like a whole anxiety and emotional, like hormonal mess anyway. So one of the things that through COVID that I implemented in my classroom, remote and in person, was when they, upon entry to the class or the Zoom, it was a moment of deep breathing. And that's all we did. We closed our eyes and we did meditative breathing for 1 minute. And then when it opened, we shared, and this was, they volunteered something that they're happy about. And it could be something in school or something at home, and then something that they were eager to learn about. And then I'm going to continue to implement that even post whatever. It was just a strategy to try to get them connected on Zoom, and it worked really well. That's all.
That's wonderful, Pamela. Thank you for sharing that. I think even as adults, as the educators, that's something we all would probably benefit from as well. So thank you for that. And I'm seeing lots of great ideas as well as in the chat and support for Pamela's idea. Anyone else who would like to come off mute or elaborate on what you've shared in the chat?
I will. Sharon Tommaso, we were talking about sort of the same thing, opening and closing class. And I was saying, being more mindful of doing that regularly. And one of the teachers in the class recommended too, having the students come up with ideas, because I teach 8th grade, having them have input, which I loved. I wrote that down, and even kind of having a calendar or what we do on Mondays or Tuesday or whatever, and giving them input and they could fill it in. So it's things, there are certain things that they enjoy doing, types of reflection or openers. I love that idea.
Thanks for sharing back, Sharon. And I really like this idea of having the calendar. It's an expected and predictable routine for students, so which is beneficial for their emotional growth as well. Anything else?
And I think from Donna's group, we're asking Jen Andrews to share. You want to come off mute?
Hi there. Sure. So I'm actually a school counselor, but I do teach teach a senior seminar class. One thing I did this year was I asked the students to develop a class playlist. So they submitted to me mostly clean versions of some of their favorite songs. And I screened them and then compiled a list. And then we did that just basically as a way to open class. So it was great to see all their different interests. It really got some conversations going, but it was also just sort of often a calm or energizing, depending on the selection, way to start class. And then we ended up, they really liked it. So we actually developed a few lists because we went through them. And then if we ever didn't do it, they asked me, why aren't we listening to music to start things? So it was fun. It got me to sort of know them, and it opened up other conversations as well. So.
That's a great idea. And I see a lot of interest in it in the chat. I think, like you said, it sounds like an opportunity to learn more about your students, but also what I'm seeing coming through in the chat and some of the other ideas that have been shared off the mic is this idea of getting the students involved in deciding how this experience around SEL and getting your day started or even closing, getting to be involved in how that's decided. And I think that's a great thing that that's coming through. And with that, I think we are going to continue on in transition, but if you haven't had an opportunity yet to scroll through the chat, lots of great ideas coming through there. Margaret?
Thanks, Irene, and thank you, everyone. Amazing ideas in the chat and in conversations. Thank you for them. So now we are going to transition into our final activity and portion of our time together today. It's just been flying, so well done on doing such great work and making it this far for our final section. So we're now going to think about learning about and creating the essential transitional lesson plans as we embark on yet another unprecedented school year. So transitional lesson plans. So TNTP, in partnership with the Providence, Rhode Island Public Schools, identified a need to support students as we transition back into in-person learning from a variety of models, whether it was hybrid, completely remote, or back in person. We needed to set students up for a successful school year. And we did this by creating targeted and specific transitional lesson plans, which capture the unique position our students have been in. And of course, as we go on to begin planning these transitional lesson plans on our own, they'll be unique to your own student population as well. So please do keep that in mind. So what are transitional lesson plans, right? There's something that we tend to do every year at back to school. And essentially they're lesson plans we design to welcome students, set routines, begin revisiting student skills and working styles, and setting goals for the upcoming school year. Of course, we all know that this year is again going to be new for our students in many ways. And so strong transitional lesson plans may look slightly different than they have in more traditional years past. So we have here on this slide some of the key factors that we've identified when creating transitional lesson plans. We found it critical to build in group work, as many of us have actually identified thinking about SEL, to build group work into our lesson plans as a way that we build community and leverage our students' assets and identities in our lessons to make sure they are seen, heard, and celebrated, reflecting all the way back to the beginning of our session today when we acknowledged how we feel and learn perhaps differently or in a more engaged way. When we feel seen, we can do that for our students as well. We also found it critical to create predictability by utilizing systems and routines, providing space for independent reflection, and cultivating opportunities for agency, just like we were discussing, where students can participate in the planning processes to set goals as we launch the school year. Like many things we discussed, this list is not prescriptive, nor is it complete. We rely on your expertise to make it even stronger. So we do have so much strength in the room today. Please take a moment now on your own to think thinking back to one strong transitional lesson plan that you've used in the past. Maybe it's a technique or an engagement strategy, something that you've done in the past to welcome students back in. Please go ahead and share that idea for transitioning students into your class now. It doesn't have to be a whole plan, just one way that you welcome and transition students into your room that you found to be effective. And I'll put the directions in the chat now as we wait for those responses to start popping up. Sarah, home visits, smile. Melissa, absolutely greeting every student. Mary, student interest surveys, absolutely important. These are excellent and the participation is on fire. They're coming in so fast, I can't even keep up with all of your expertise, but please do read these and hold on to any that jump out at you. Welcome letters, one word about me, that's a perfect opportunity maybe for any grade, really. Read alouds. So again, we do have so much expertise that we can learn from and continue to use and build into as we think about this next school year, thinking about all of our learners and that learning acceleration approach. And so with that, thank you so much for those wonderful responses in the chat. We're going to keep these ideas in our back pocket and in our chat as we move forward into some planning. We'll have the opportunity to take a look at a few sample transitional lesson plans and think about how we might apply them to our own teaching. So our next job is threefold. The first is going to be to find a plan that meets your grade level or is close, and then to read and skim through it. The next step is going to be figuring out an element from that lesson plan that you might like to steal or utilize in your own planning. And then lastly, you can begin either planning an objective for your own transitional lesson plan or planning into the calendar tool of how you might like to welcome students back, maybe a little bit differently or more tailored to your unique students this coming school year. That was a lot of directions, so I'm going to put them in the chat as well. But we are going to take the next 5 minutes to begin reading those lesson plans, which we will put in the chat, and then 7 minutes to read the lesson plan that's more appropriate to your grade, and then begin reflecting and planning for how you might create specialized lesson plans, transitional lesson plans for your own unique student population this year. So please feel free to work with your camera off if that's your style, and listen for my voice at about 14 after the hour to come back together, and then we'll get to share out and brainstorm and discuss. Thank you, everyone. This activity is a perfect example of something that we, of course, don't expect you to finish during this time, but that you can continue offline with other thought partners at your school and moving forward. But right now, we're actually going to transition into our final breakout activity for today. So in breakouts, please discuss and share out which lesson plan you looked at and any ideas or new information that you took away from it. And if you started doing any planning of your own, please definitely share that out as well and capture any new ideas in your note catcher for posterity. So we'll be in breakouts for the next about 5 minutes, and then we'll have some closing announcements and close out for the day. So thank you all so much. We'll see you back in about 5 minutes. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for those conversations and for sharing out some new ideas or takeaways after reviewing these sample lesson plans, these sample transitional lesson plans. So I would love to invite someone to come to the mic. You can put your name in the chat to share a key takeaway. And as you think, if you would like to be one of our final volunteers of today, please do put your name in the chat. And I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Irene with just an announcement to give a little more framing to the activity that we just did as well.
Sure, thanks, Margaret. So we were getting a few questions about the sample lessons and what's available there. Just again, to reiterate, as Margaret said, these are samples. It would be lovely if there was a bank, but to find more resources, you can look to CASEL's webpage as they have more resources that are grade level specific. And also, the lessons that you find on TNTP's website are helpful for generating ideas. I know we don't go as far back as pre-K, but hopefully you're able to get some idea of what these types of lessons might look like. And then one other point we wanted to make is that some of these types of activities, we traditionally think about them as elementary or grade levels or for younger children. But the reality is many of them can be made to feel age appropriate for older students, such as a morning meeting or a morning circle. I say this from experience, it can be done and made age appropriate. So I encourage you to keep open-minded about how some of these different strategies you're coming across can look with older students. And Margaret, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Irene. Always appreciate your perspectives and what you bring to our conversations. Torianne, I'm wondering if you would like to come off your mic if you want to tell us a little bit more about what you shared there in the chat. No pressure.
Sure. Is it Tony Ann?
I apologize, Torianne. Thank you so much.
That's okay. No, everyone does that. That's no worries. So yeah, I feel like these transitional lesson plans help you transition the students and yourself back into the school year. I mean, sometimes I know at my school, we even talk about doing it coming back from vacations. So coming back from, you know, winter break and things like that, where you're just trying to do lessons, but at the same time, like intertwining the different structures, routines, different expectations that you want, whether it's for, I know one of the plans I looked at was about how to use math tools to be a mathematician. Also things like, you know, what do you expect in small group work? What are your expectations for answering questions out loud or answering questions on paper? So just any of those things that you want to set the stage for, because the students haven't been in school and haven't been doing these things, and we literally need to like transition them back into being a student.
Torianne, incredibly helpful. Thank you so much for being willing and our final voice for our session today. And so with that, I am going to bring it on back to Irene. And please do check out the chat for our closing survey. And I'll hand it to you now, Irene. Thank you, everyone.
So just as Margaret has said, thank you all for joining us today and for your hard work and your engagement on getting started with the roadmap. We hope that you were able to come away with a better understanding of 360 communication. Hopefully you were able to pick out some strategies or practices from the playbook. We know you only had a short time to look at it, but we're hoping that those strategies can then also become integrated into those transitional plans that you'll be coming up with to welcome your students and families back to school this fall. So again, we have a feedback survey that we would really appreciate you filling out. We read each and every comment to make this session the best we can for you all and to make it a positive experience. And we also hope that you'll join us tomorrow and in the coming week for our additional sessions that are focused on accelerated learning in the classroom. And we'll stay on for the next couple of minutes. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate you being here on an August afternoon. Excellent work today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.